fair with you two, the clothes would probably fit, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So, to be fair,
That's how they save money on budget.
Charlie Parsons making an October Red debut. Hello, Charlie.
This made me laugh. Look at this.
Yeah, I was on the show.
Are we sharing DMs?
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Just a little
You're
reminder.
the only person I can send
I'm
this to.
taller. Oh.
I'd batter you though. But obviously it's not hard, is it?
So it doesn't matter if you're.
Oh,
what?
wow.
It don't matter. It
Oh,
don't,
wow.
It don't matter if you're an inch taller.
Is this like a new bromance?
Oscar's jealous.
Is Oscar getting jealous?
Yeah.
We love it. But you know what? I'm here with Sonny Edwards. And it's always nice to see you, Sonny. I didn't speak to you after your last fight, before you hung up the gloves for the last time. And I'll say it on camera. That was a heartbreaking loss for me to watch, because I like her.
Oh, I appreciate
Even though
it.
it was a good fight, because
I heard you was
like
in the
Galal.
other change room celebrating.
Listen, stop your rubbish. I know we're brummies and that, but you're cool. You're a cool guy.
I appreciate it, thank you.
And I do like
well, not a
Galal
cool
as
guy,
well.
but
But I didn't. It was just sad.
it
But
was
you
a
know
little
what?
bit.
You're the fighter. We can go over that, or we can talk about exciting things. I don't know. What do you want to speak about while I've got you?
You're the interviewer. It's your.
Nah, but
I'm
it's
in your
your
domain.
show.
I'm in your domain.
I like you to steer it, and then I can work off what you want to talk about. I
Are
do
you
that a
going
lot.
there? All right, sweet.
Bye. Hope you sort your neck out.
Don't say that.
A massage is always good. No happy endings.
He just watched YouTube learn how to manage himself, and massage himself.
Listen. So talk to me about it, and you making that ultimate decision to say, I'm stepping out now.
I was already there before
Oh, was you?
the fight. Yeah. Camp was hard. Was
Because?
hard. Injuries, the mindset, just being a bit.
Mindset?
Yeah, my injuries were getting to me, and I've dealt with injuries my whole way through my career, my professional career. If I got in the ring every time I was only 100% fully fit, I probably would only have about 7 fights to this day. Had bad hands, bad ankles. Like, people found out and seen it through the years, but
Yeah.
no matter what I was going through camp, as long as I could spar, which you can kind of spar no matter what's going on really, I would just think when I got in the ring, my adrenaline's going to kick in and I wouldn't feel it. But this camp was hard. I'd done one of my ankles 13 weeks out, and then I did my other ankle a month out. I had bad hands all the way through, like I have been for years, really. My shoulder, my elbow
The
was
hell?
tight, and like to the point of every single night it was just like I was like jarred up. It was just, you know,
Sounds like you should have been stretchered in.
yeah, it was just. But I've done a very good job for years of hiding all my injuries. To be honest, I've worn ankle supports for the last 4 or 5 years of my career on both ankles, because I've snapped both ligaments in my ankles. Like, I've had to have an injection, a legal one,
Of
an
the
injection
cortisone.
in my left wrist, my left hand,
Yeah.
every single fight since
Cortisone,
since the Marcel Braithwaite fight, every single one. That was a few years ago now. And it got to the point where every pad session or bag session, I'm nursing, like, you know, like when you play a game and then you have an injured part of your body and it flashes red.
Yeah.
Like, that's what my left hand has been for every session I've done for the last 4 or 5 years. I've not been able to throw, not once, not one period of time, a 100% proper shot in training with my left hand. I've not been able to do it because it just hurts all the time. To the point of I'll do a camp and every single time I've hit with my left hand, it's like I'm placing just before my knuckle touches, but the padding hit. Like, I got very good at just sort of pulling the exact amount, and it got to the point where I just felt like, why am I doing this? And I felt like I'd clocked the flyweight division. I'd become as big as I could probably become, without now just sort of leveraging my name to give all the other fighters a way in and a way up. That's what it felt like. I still now, like, if I wanted to come back tomorrow, there'd probably be only the rematch of what I've already fought. You know what I mean? There's no one. There's no one even worth me really getting in camp to go fight. Like, if we're talking about name-wise on the same similar-ish sort of platform as me, it would be me just giving them an opportunity, I guess.
Did you feel like you fell out of love with it? Like
The process.
Which part? When you say the process, what do you mean?
Like, it made so much sense for so many years when I was proper dedicating myself, and I never probably went 100% full tilt like some fighters can manage to do. I always probably had my little oh, I've had a good week, my weight's good, let's have a takeaway. Like I've always struggled to I've always
Not
struggled to
you.
get exactly.
So you've got no discipline. Is that what you're telling me?
Very poor discipline, and that's because I suffer with talent syndrome. You know, the fighters that grow up and know they're talented, every time they get in something, they know they're talented. What they do is get a little bit complacent. But it's very easy when you live in a reality to get a bit complacent of where you're at, especially when you're succeeding. I mean, I had 5 world title defenses. I had an unbeaten career to a certain point. I was the #1 in the world in that same up for 2 years. I was so. It's very easy to start getting a bit complacent and not in the ring, not in my approach when I'm in fighting. Like, I always loved that. That's probably why my training went from doing like 13, 14, 15 sessions a week, from running, strength and conditioning, pads, all the sessions you're supposed to do, to pretty much doing 3 spars a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then maybe a pads on Tuesday. And I just couldn't be asked to do anything else. And I was using my injuries, because they were there, but I was then using them as, I'm not doing strength and conditioning because I get injured. And it was, I'd do dumbbells, and then the next day I couldn't close my hand because my wrists were so fucked. So it was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do dumbbells because tomorrow I want to be able to close my wrist. And I just made it and fell into that. Even like my trainer for the last fight, Chris, bless his heart, was really trying to get me onto training twice a day and taking me out. The moment he gets me running out on the second session of the day, I snap my ankle off, and then I can't train that week. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it just is like. And yeah, if I was probably like 99% of other fighters at this time, and probably at least a few other times in my career, I wouldn't have got in the ring. I would have used the injury. I need to be 100%. But with me, it's the fans are booked, people are coming, the undercard, the fighter, the event. Like, just fuck it, time is now. So it didn't matter. And I still had confidence, but.
Oh yeah, you never lack that.
I still had confidence in, I think I could still get in there. Because I knew Galal was going to be a hard fight, but just one I knew I was going to win, in my opinion. And I think when I got in there, so he started very well and he caught me within the first 5 seconds. And it probably just kind of knocked me into a negative mindset for the rest. And by the time the fight got stopped, I was in the fight now. I was enjoying myself. Like, I was like, yeah, come. And then they stopped the fight. I didn't think I was taking any punishment. I thought he was just letting his hands go, and I knew he couldn't keep letting his hands go like that for 12 rounds because I know him. And then the fight got stopped and he won. But
so what was that on Twitter then when it said, I don't think I can do this anymore? Because that came out.
No, I didn't say that. I said I don't want to be here.
You don't want. Okay, yeah.
I don't like that. No.
I stand
the reason why that come out.
Yeah.
Was because, like I said, I had 13 weeks of negative thoughts, and on more just me, and my ability, and who I am now, and how my reactions are going, and what I'm seeing now, and how my body is, and the ankles that used to be able to go for 12 rounds, I've snapped them and hurt them so many times that now it feels like effort walking upstairs. Like, I could feel the depletion in my performance, and now I'm sparring people that maybe couldn't lace my gloves off. Really, and now I'm having 50-50s with him, where I'm having to wait for him to slow down in the 6th, 7th round before I'm really getting like good work off. And having those thoughts for so long, knowing I'm getting in a big fight, like, I put them to the back of my mind, because obviously it's just in your mind. You know what I mean? To say them out loud, they're not real. And then, yeah, when the fight started going off, and I felt like, oh, my body's fucked here, and I didn't feel strong. Really, I didn't feel. And the worst thing was, I didn't feel like I had the mindset to move and react. Like, I didn't have it in me.
Well, you lost your legs.
It's like, in Space Jam, when the talent goes into the ball. That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like.
Days.
But and I know it's all in my head, really. Like, my body is bad, but probably not as bad as my mind has now started to accept.
Yeah, but that like mental side of it is important for fighters. I always think, when I speak to a guest, when I speak to a fighter, you're an extremely experienced fighter. I'd like to think that other fighters would watch this and learn. The honesty that you're sharing with me here about the lack of training, about the psychological side, about the injuries and what it did to you mentally, and how that changed your whole thought process for the camp.
I had to bring my friend. I had to bring my friend for my last 2 fights.
Yeah.
To come and live with me and cook all my food, because otherwise I wouldn't have done it. You know what I mean? Unless they were like, even when the nutritionist was bringing it twice a day, twice a week, like actually cooking them straight to my house, they were staying in my fridge. You know what I mean? It got to the point where I weren't doing all the things that I needed to do to compete at the level that I was competing at, and because of talent syndrome, a lot of fighters suffer
Talent
it.
syndrome.
When you grow up always sort of being in control, never sort of having your ass handed to you, and none of those things happen, you get very used to bubbling at like 60, 70%, and it's still being enough for someone else's 100%. And I think, yeah, that's just what happened. And then, I got into a fight where my opponent was too good to be like that with. And like I said, I always knew Galal was a good fighter and going to be a hard fight, but it was the fight, if I'm honest, that I was waiting for my whole professional career. Before other people knew who Galal was, I was waiting for that fight, and I was expecting it, knew it to be coming. And for me, it was pretty much, whenever you're ready to have it, we have it. Like, wherever you're ready to have it, we had it.
Yeah, the respect
I went
was
Birmingham,
definitely
right
there.
there.
With you two, I saw like a bit of argument with your brother and Gamal, but other than that, the
What's
respect
mad
was there.
is my brother and them two brothers, they were actually friends once upon a time. When they was all on GB traveling the world together, they've got memories of each other that they wouldn't even speak on camera. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
I bet.
they were good mates, and that's
Boys
what
on tour.
one of the kind of thing that was with me when it was all dragging on with them lot. It's like, fucking hell, boys, you lot could have all boxed each other and you haven't. So like,
Allow
now
it.
why pretend you all don't like each other when you used to be friends, when you could have boxed each other at one point? You know what I mean? And that was. For me, I got no issue with any of them, to be honest, really.
I know that. I saw that at the media workout.
With me, I got such a respect for boxing that if you dedicate your life to me, like, you might be a different person, you might have different principles, you might have different priorities and different way of you act, you might have different circles, you might be on the complete other side around people that you'd categorically think that I can't stand. But you see, once you're, effort into boxing and training and getting in the ring and dieting and
That's
doing all of those
respect.
sacrifices, because how much I love boxing, I love every fighter just from that connection to boxing. Boxing has been my church. Boxing has been my centre. Boxing has been my every single weekend we're doing this. Boxing has been my, we're going there and seeing them. Boxing has been that for me since I was 9 years old. So I know how hard it is just to have a little bit of anything, and I've had it good, really. So every fighter gets my respect in that regard. Now, on a personal level, yeah, you can dislike each other, but I really haven't got that much ongoing issues with anyone, really. I don't. It's anytime I've had a problem enough that people need to know about, I make sure that everyone knows, just so that everyone knows. So I don't have to pretend to be nice to the person.
Yeah, I
I
know you don't. You don't shy away from confrontation.
No, but then I don't have to justify myself at later times. Like, you do something big, okay, he doesn't like him, right? Sweet. Then no matter what happens from that, it's just a spin-off of that. Like, I don't know, but everyone's human, so everyone should just get on, really.
Well, what I do like is the fact that even though you hung up the gloves, you stayed in boxing. You're somebody that I value the opinion of, because it's an absolute dream to listen to you on commentary, because you speak from inside the ring. Even though you're outside, even though you're watching it, you're speaking from a fighter's perspective, which I think is really refreshing to listen to. But you mentioned something there, Sonny, and I know I can't keep you too long because you need to eat. Talent syndrome, and that is something that I've not heard before. Now, we've got Liam Cameron going in for the second time against Ben Whittaker. I think it's been recently announced that it is a 10-rounder. They've come to the amicable agreements that's happening. I want you to talk me through that first fight. And I understand we are at a Matchroom press conference, but I really need your opinion on that. You know Liam, you've been in the same gym as him. You obviously know Ben, you've been on GB with him. Talk to us about that, Sonny.
Yeah, I think bear in mind, I like both lads.
Yes.
Liam, because of the Steel City, and also, really, if I'm being like just completely transparent,
Yeah.
the comments that Ben made about my best friend Lyndon, like before that in the build-up.
What did he say?
Oh, you struggled, you got beat by a washed-up fighter, and it's like Lyndon would, with all the benefit of hindsight that we have, would probably beat Ben Whittaker quite easy right now, I think.
Really?
Yeah, Ben Whittaker doesn't hit hard enough to disrupt his boxing, and I think Lyndon definitely hits a lot harder than Ben. He's much more experienced. He's done the 10, 12 rounds. I think definitely, to be honest. Now, Ben is a tremendous boxer, but physically he's not much of a threat. That's why Liam Cameron, who's never really been a light heavyweight, has only come up with this last bit for opportunity.
He's a super middleweight.
He's a super middleweight. He was a middleweight. But what Ben didn't realise, I think, is when Ben was getting to, maybe the quarters or the semis or the finals of the CYPs age 14, Liam Cameron was ABA champion.
Yeah,
He was one of the best amateurs that Sheffield have ever had. But he just had a poorly managed start to his career where he had a bit of like lost a couple of times, but still won titles and that. But on small hall shows, no one really give him no credit, or because of the team that was around him. Now, when he took a 4-year hiatus because of recreational
Which
drug
he's been
ban,
open. Yeah, he's been open
yeah,
about.
but bear in mind, people, a load of fighters have failed for performance enhancing drugs and never took 2 years off, let alone 4, let alone any time off. So it's, a bit sickening that side of things. But since he's come back into boxing, he spends every single day at the gym. He has nothing else to do. He boxed Ben Whittaker on a Saturday. He was in the gym on Tuesday coaching the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds because he's the head nursery coach of Steel City. So that's the sort of person on the opposite. We're literally talking about two sides of the spectrum. You have someone that is so grateful to be there and happy to be there now that when he's in the ring, even getting punched in the face makes him smile. And then you have someone else that when they got punched in the face for the first time by an actual fighter trying to come and win, he didn't know what to do with it. And
You reckon that's what happened?
Absolutely. And I think if anyone wanted to sit here and argue the fact that he wasn't looking for a way out and didn't find it, then I think you're actually insane or just a friend of his. Now, like I said, I think he's cool and I'm friends of him and I like him, but if you genuinely try and convince me that Ben Whittaker weren't looking for a way out, didn't grab him, drag him over the ropes, and then not only when everything happened, didn't even make one attempt to try and get on his feet. You cannot argue that he was looking for a way out, in my opinion.
All right,
That's all it is, in my
Are you
opinion.
saying that though because of what he says about Lyndon, or are you saying
nah,
that
nah,
as
nah,
like
nah.
this?
Nah,
is
nah,
this
nah,
a
nah.
transparent opinion?
No. Absolutely, I think you never see that happen. He grabbed him, both arms, and leaned all the way back until they both went over. Not only that, no matter how he landed, he didn't attempt to get up. I've snapped the ligaments whilst getting put down, jumped up at 2, and fought on for 8.5 rounds with completely ruptured ligaments in my ankle. He didn't attempt to move. He stayed down there, laid down there like he'd been shot like a dead dog. He didn't want to fight on. He didn't want to carry on. Now, I'm not saying he might not have put all of those oversights, talent syndrome, because he's such a good boxer. He might have not prepared the same. He thought Liam Cameron was not a good fighter. He didn't realise that Liam Cameron's got footwork like a featherweight, because he's been born and raised in Sheffield and they all learn how to switch hit and to transfer their body weight, and he was an ABA senior champion at a young age of 18, 19. Liam Cameron is a very capable fighter, and it's not just that happened. No, it started getting really hard for Ben in there, and you could see it. You could see the whole demeanour. His whole look changed. He then went for rounds 4 and 5 trying to punch him well out of a problem, and he punched himself deeper into a problem. He was getting hit more. He was losing the rounds, and then he dragged him over the top rope and didn't attempt to get up. That's the reality.
Okay.
That's the people. You always celebrate. Oh, Sonny, you speak the truth. That's the truth, and I know it might offend him, but I probably wouldn't have gone in on that much transparency had he not made the comments. You're right, but my opinion would have been the same. But I do like Ben, and I like his dad. We go way back. But look, fight week me coming up, and they're fighting Galal. They had no issues posting pictures of them too. So it is what it is. It's boxing. We all have friends. We all have multiple friends, and it crosses sometimes.
No,
it just is.
I hear that.
But he definitely looked for a way out.
But I thought, and this was just me, because I've been around him and seen him sparring and stuff, I just thought he didn't box the way he usually boxes.
Because Liam didn't let him.
Right, and
Liam didn't let him.
And this is the
Liam made
question
him miss and hit him harder than he'd been hit before. And he thought, wow, I've got to do 10 rounds of this. And he didn't want to find out.
Right, and this is the question that I asked Liam. I said, because I was saying, look, he just looked as if he just didn't box, like he was distracted. He looked like he didn't box the way he did.
He felt the power early on. And not only that, when he was landing with Liam, Liam weren't budging nowhere. Liam weren't going nothing. Liam weren't even picking up to his feints. Liam weren't. Liam's a high-level boxer. In what looking at him quickly would make you think he's a low-level boxer. He's underneath. He might not have been in the best shape. He might have been out for 4 years. He might have had 4 losses on his record.
But
he's a genuine threat when he's in a ring, and he can switch, he can throw, he can take a shot. He doesn't mind putting his head on your chest. He doesn't mind boxing and moving back. He doesn't mind being showy. He doesn't mind speaking to you. He is genuinely a capable fighter, and if people are just thinking, Ben didn't turn up the first time, it's going to be easy from this time, they're probably in for a rude awakening than he was the first time.
Well, all right then. We've got the rematch on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Right, in your expert opinion, because you are the expert, how does it go this time?
If Ben Whittaker can control the action, control the range, and maintain it over 10 rounds, and land more punches than Liam, then of course he can win. I don't think he will hurt Liam. I don't. My biggest question marks is round 6, round 7. Where's Ben's energy levels? Because right now he's shown flights of being able to do a lot of bouncy, flashy stuff, but with quite light hands and quick hands. he hasn't had to show a hard fight yet over more than 5 rounds. The only hard fight he's been in, he looked for a way out. And that was in the 5th round.
Okay, listen, and this is what I'm saying. It's good to get your opinion because you'll see it from inside of the ring. I'm interested to see how the fight goes. I don't know how it goes. I think if Ben does box at range, he should be able to do the job in boxing. I think if he gets in a bit of a wrangle-tangle, even though he's with Andy Lee, and Andy Lee's very good.
No, Andy Lee is a terrific fighter and a terrific coach.
But we'll have to see how it goes. So, back to you then, and we're going to touch on this finally. You're managing fighters as well. You've kept your fingers in pies, as I like to call it. You're doing the comms, you're doing a post-DAZN show, but you're also managing fighters. What makes you different as a manager than other managers, and why did you decide to get into management?
You see, if you ripped up my chest, I'd have a boxing heart.
Oh, bless you.
There's a boxing glove there that pulses.
That beats.
Because for 21 years, that's what I've done. Been a boxer, been around boxing, been around boxers, been in a gym with them, been at shows with them, been in their corner, managing them now, commentating boxing, getting interviewed by boxing interviewers.
That's you.
That's my life. Now, and I'm not saying that you're not dealing with good people outside of that, but when you're dealing with people and then the more in a team of people and none of them have ever even thought about boxing until they found out, hold on, I can have a conversation with one fighter, have another conversation, all of a sudden he's getting in the ring and I'm making some money. Once they realise that, it's a drug that a lot of people can't let go of in boxing. That's why a lot of the managers are here. They're looking to make a buck, you know what I mean? And I'm here to...
isn't everyone though, Sonny?
No, but the money makes the world go round, but I don't make my short-term decisions
based
for
off
financial gain.
Right.
And now I know in a lot of areas it's getting very creative with how the boxing business is going behind the scenes right now.
I can believe that.
And people are opting to not represent fighters properly, but to become best friends with the promoters.
Yeah.
And then feed pre-arranged contracts for negotiations to sign new fighters.
That
imagine you're meeting a fighter for the first time and you've got a contract for them to look at from a promoter before you've even signed the fighter as a manager.
Insane.
How should that ever happen? Now, me and how my team work, we can't have a conversation with a promoter until we've got the fighter because it's disingenuous. It's messy. We don't like doing it. It's like showing pictures of a girl that you don't got. You know what I mean? It's something that we're not willing to do because we feel like it's a cheap way of doing it. And now maintaining a good relationship with all the promoters is essential, but it's got to be done in a organic and genuine way
and
that regards
conduit.
the boxer.
You're the conduit.
That regards the boxer. Like, I was a boxer professionally for near 10 years. I was been an amateur boxer for another 10 years ahead of that. Now, every conversation that regards me as a fighter, we should be making sure that we're prepped for the best interest of me. Now, we're going to have to compromise because you're also going to have to deal with the rest and the other side of the business.
Yeah.
However, my manager shouldn't be deep in the pockets of the promoter. My manager shouldn't be talking me off the cliff because it doesn't really matter our conversation because they already know what's going and what's not going because they're on the other side. Now, it should be a more genuine, organic team. It should be best interest of the fighter because... Unfortunately, as much as I like every guy that I'd ever do any business with in boxing, it's only the fighters that get in there and get their brain cells punched in. Everyone else is sat there watching, clapping, maybe not clapping, maybe saying, oh, he's useless, let's not get him on again.
I hear that.
Because of that, what I'm not going to do is make sure that the loyalties of the fighters are sold down the river to who can benefit the most of them. And that's where I think I differ because we're fighters first, and I think the busiest managers right now aren't.
And that night we're going to leave it only because my clock's running out on there. We've got half an hour and we've nearly been going for half an hour. Sonny, we're going to have to pick this up again, you know. Time flies when you're having fun. Are you about next week?
I'm always about.
You're going to be everywhere.
Yeah,
you're working next week.
Yeah, I'm at the Eubank, Ben. I'm working. Yeah.
We'll sit down again.
I'm looking
but it's a pleasure.
Appreciate you, always.
Do your thing, innit? Sonny Edwards,
Any
everybody.
pavements outside, I'll have them.
Bro, let's not do that. You know what? I would have preferred it if I was actually in a fight and they came off.
Do you know what I mean? I thought, wow, what's happened?
You know what
I was
really
expecting
nice?
when I messaged you, I was expecting
story.
This happened. 3 of them came from behind.
But you know what was really nice? I had a couple of fighters, and you know who you are. Say, do I need to assemble the mandem?
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought we was checking in to make sure everything's all right. You know.
People say I'm toxic, and honestly, I don't care.